Good evening, everybody. My name is Nick Thompson. I'm the gut doctor, and with the kind support of Vermex, I'm here today to give you a rerun of our talk that we did 7 days ago in Porlock, in the village hall, very nice village hall in Porlock. We're going to be talking about pet care in your summer holidays, okay? And so I'm just going to talk for a minute or two while we wait for people to jump on. And Laura is looking after me this evening because Rosie's gone to a wedding. So good luck, Rosie. Hope you have a lovely wedding. Not hers, I think, but she's attending a friend's wedding. So fabulous. Rosie's not here. Laura is. She says the sound is good so far. And once I flip over to the presentation, I'm just going to ask her to say yay or nay with regard to the sound there. So we should be good for sound today. I hope so. I hope it all works very, very well. Don't know what happened last week, but I think we'll be fine. So last week we were in Porlock. We took the children camping in a beautiful little campsite very near to Porlock and had okay weather, but we had a really, really, really fantastic time. When I was talking to you last week, I was saying I had to go to be down at the village hall in order to do the presentation, and I had to leave Ellie holding the baby. She was the tent was not up. The cars were, all the debris from the car had been quickly removed, and so she had to do the whole thing. And I have to say, I think she put the tent up better than I could. It's a big air tent and there's an awning on it and what have you. And when I came back, the place was absolutely spotless, absolutely spick and span. And I think probably better than I could have done it. So guess who I'm going to volunteer for doing the tent putting up next time. Okay, so we're going to be talking today about pet care in your summer holidays. I'm not going to talk about the basics about making sure that your dog's got enough water in whenever you go away out, day trips or what have you. I'm not going to be talking about don't put your dog into a hot car and leave them for at all. I'm not going to go through the basics. I thought when I wrote the talk for today, I thought let's go along the road less traveled. So I'm going to take you there right now, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the presentation there. I'm going to stay here so that I'm with you for the whole presentation, and I'm going to go over to the presentation there. And as you see, here we are. We all love to go away with our pets, with our dogs primarily. Some people will take their cats, but it's not very common. But it's a wonderful thing to take the whole family. That includes the dogs. We have Bluebell and we have Mouse. They are Whippet Italian Greyhound crosses, and it's really fabulous. Even camping, to take them with us, they do add an awful lot to our adventure. So that's really what we're going to be talking about today. So as soon as I get the thumbs up from Laura, I'm going to continue with the presentation. I've called it The Road Less Traveled after the famous book by Scott Peck. Came out about 30 years ago, perhaps. And he was a psychologist, and he wrote a book about the psychology of looking at psychology from a different perspective. And I've got the okay from Laura. So this is fantastic. So we've got the slides and the sound is good. So guys, let's go full speed ahead with our presentation today. Pet care in your summer holidays, the road less traveled. the gut doctor should have been last week, but we're delivering it this week. I've made a few changes to it just to make it flow a little better, so might even be a little more clear the ideas that I'd like to discuss. You will have seen the pictures before, but I'm going to take you through them this time. So the first thing to talk about is that if you can't take your pets on holiday, you don't just have to settle for the local kennels or cattery. There are actually places these days that offer a tremendous amount of uh, um, stimulation and really wonderful guaranteed care of your dog, including pampering amenities, spas, pool time, personalized grooming, social activities, and one-to-one attention. You know, it sounds good enough for you and I to go there ourselves. So you don't need to settle for the local kennels if you're not quite sure. I'm sure they're great. Okay, I don't want to put them down. These people work very, very hard and they do a great job. But if you from an emotional perspective just think, oh, I wish that Tiddles or Fido could have just a little bit extra because we're going away and we can't take them with us, and we'd like them to have the very best of the best. We treat ourselves when we go on holiday, and we're going to do the same to our pets. Okay, so it's maybe it's to assuage guilt, but there are some amazing places. This is a small country dogs hotel and spa, which is down near the HQ of Vermex, and their facilities are just wonderful. Really, really impressive to see. The other alternative, if you're going on holiday and you can't take your pets with you, is to get an in-house pet sitter. Now, this is a really great idea and might actually be cheaper than going to a posh country hotel and spa for the dog or cat. So do think carefully about it. The beauty of it is financially, if you've got lots of pets, it means that it's cheaper to get one person in to look after all the pets. And maybe you've got ponies, maybe you've got goats and what have you. They'll be able to take care of all these things as opposed to just having one cat or one dog. But if that's where you want to go, then I think it's a very, very good idea. And the beauty of it from the pet perspective is that the animals who like a continuity of routine will have that to a greater or lesser extent. Obviously you're not around, but you can tell the pet sitter, you know, what time do we get up, where do they go for walks, where do they eat, and what have you. So the whole feeding thing is taken care of as well. We'll talk about feeding in a minute. So have a think about that. But the other twist on this, which I thought was really amazing, was that you can become a pet sitter too. You may well even be able to take your pet, and so you have a holiday by pet sitting for somebody else who's gone off to the holidays. And so these are a couple of websites that I found. We've got House Sitters UK and Trusted House Sitters, and here you see it with the House Sitters UK. They on the opening page there, we've got find a trustworthy person to look after your house and pets. The other benefit there is this person will look after your house as well. Added benefit, love it, wonderful. Okay, which means that security for your house, if that's an issue, is good. But also, if we look there on the right, you can live rent free if you become the pet sitter in homes locally across the UK, even around the world. I know people, I've got clients who do this. They just go from one, beautiful idyllic location in Greece or in Turkey or in Belgium or in Australia or wherever it might be, and they look after other people's pets. And I think that's a really great way for you to have a very cheap holiday away. If you're finding it difficult to justify the finance to get on holiday, well, maybe this is the thing for you. You're a dog lover, you're a cat lover. That's why you're watching this show. So I would suggest that's a really great thing to think about. And again, trusted house sitters, they allow you to find pet sitters, and they allow you to be a pet sitter all over the country, possibly all over the world. So I thought that was a really lovely twist, very much worth thinking about. Now, one of the questions I get an awful lot is people say, because I've got many of my clients are raw feeders. If you're feeding fresh food, or if you are even feeding kibble, then it's not such a problem. Yeah, if you've got, punnets of food that are stable at ambient room temperature, then you can just take those away and off you go. Okay, they're shelf stable, those foods. But if you're a raw feeder, good for you, absolutely wonderful. Or if you're maybe not raw, but you're feeding fresh, you just cook very lightly the raw food, either because your dog needs it or because you prefer to do it that way. How are you going to do that if you're away for an extended period? Obviously, if you go away for a day or two, you can just take the raw, put it in the cool box, and off you go. But if you're going away for a week, 10, 12 days, how does that work? And the answer is to get a really, really good cool box. And this even works if you're going to a cottage, not necessarily if you're going camping or anything like that. If the freezer at the cottage or the freezer in the caravan, whatever, is small, then the cool box is the way to go. We've got a Coleman Extreme cool box, Coleman Extreme, and their tagline for the Coleman Extreme range is that it will keep ice as ice for 6 days. Okay, so this means that if you fill the cool box, if you've got a small dog, you get a small cool box. If you've got a big dog, you get a bigger cool box. And what you do is you pack that cool box absolutely chock-a-block with the food for the dog. And so on the first few days, you just take out the food as you would at home, you defrost and feed. By the time you get to about day 6, day 7, the majority of the food within the cool box will have defrosted, but it will be at a really cold temperature. You're not opening it, you're only opening it once, twice, 3 times a day. And so you've probably got another 3 days or so of refrigerated, not frozen, but refrigeration of that food. So let's say you go 6 days frozen, because this is what your wonderful Coleman Extreme allows you to do. You've then got another 3 or 4 days at the other end of that. So that allows you to get away for, say, 10, 11 or so days. And if you're going away for 2 weeks, then you only need to concentrate on those last few days. And there may be a raw store down the road. Nowadays, there are shops selling raw food, fresh food all over the country, which is a really wonderful thing. So portable coolers, this lovely dog is sitting on an Igloo. They're very good. I'm a big Coleman Extreme fan. They don't sponsor me in the slightest, unfortunately, because I do talk about them all the time. Really, really useful. We've got one which we use for the dogs, and it works really, really great. Also, from a food perspective, we can think about puzzle feeders. Yeah, if the family or you and your partner, you tend to be maybe busy, or you want to maybe keep the dog occupied, then these puzzle feeders are really, really great. They will make eating into a little bit of an adventure, or you can get kind of chewy Kongs, for example, that you can put treats, dried meat treats into those, and then the dog can bat those around in the the front garden of the cottage, or on your pitch in the campsite, and that can just keep everybody happy, including you, the humans, but also the dog as well, because I think, great, look at this, we've got this wonderful distraction for us. Obviously, you wouldn't get a whacking great Kong if you've only got a small Yorkie or a little Pom or something like this, and so you will get the puzzle feeders or the kind of distraction treat feeders will vary according to the size and the breed of your dog. A brachycephalic, say a French bulldog, they're going to have they're going to work well with different feeders to the more long-nosed breeds. So there you go, just a few little thoughts with regard to food. And then I just thought I'd like to look at the sometimes holidays, and the preparation for holidays can be stressful. And so I just thought, let's just have a little look at a few strategies that we can use. Personally, we've got Bluebell, who is, Mouse doesn't care. She's fine as long as she's happy and she's got places to run around. But Bluebell, within about 3 or 4 days of us going camping, because obviously you've got to get all the camping gear out, you've got to check it and wash it, and what have you. And so Bluebell goes into a bit of a funk for about 3 or 4 days before every holiday. And so some of the things that, if your dog is the same, a little bit delicate and a little bit, oh my goodness, my guardians, my parents are going to leave me. If that is a bit of a stress, then there's a few options that you can look at. Number one would be aromatherapy. Also, you can think about perhaps calming music, and then you can think about possibly using herbal preparations, clever herbal preparations to help. So from an aromatherapy point of view, and obviously zoopharmacognosy tells us that you should trial very delicately any essential oils that you're using on your pet, primarily dogs in this situation, because if your dog has a real standoffish reaction to, say, lavender, then lavender may not be the essential oil to use. You can also consider clary sage, valerian. It's easy to look these things up online. I would take advice, or look at some of the books. There are some wonderful books by Caroline Ingraham on zoopharmacognosy. It's one word, zoopharmacognosy. She's kind of the queen of all things zoopharmacognosy. She even invented the term a very long time ago. And so that could just take the edge off either anxiety before you go away or during travel, or if your pet is not settling in the new place, the cottage, the tent, what have you, then that could be very useful. Equally, if you're getting everything organized at home, you can always maybe play some calming music, and I have no doubt it will have a calming effect on the entire house. And I was amazed to see that you can see these tracks on YouTube and Spotify. Just do a little search on calming music for dogs, and there they are. It's really great, and some of them sound very good, actually. And also, I'm a real fan of herbs, obviously, and one of the ones that we've got here at home is this one by Vermex. It's a calming blend. It's something that I helped them put together a number of months ago. It's come out. It's fully organic. It's a lovely blend of herbs that we use, and you may well find that very, very useful. It's a nice one. You can probably see that there's some of the packs just on the shelf behind me here, because we offer it. So how do we take some of the potential stress, anxiety out of holidays? These are some of the the elements that we can look at: aromatherapy, zoopharmacognosy, music for dogs, and herbal preparations like Vermex Organic. So all very, very good. Now, another big issue if you're going away, some people go to Scotland where there's loads of ticks. Some people will go to a cottage perhaps where there's been a flea-ridden dog or cat, and so there's lots of fleas around, and you go in and all of a sudden the dog's got either fleas because of the environment, or there are more ticks in the environment that you're normally used to. Maybe you live in London or Manchester or Bristol, and then you go out to the country. This is classic. And what you can do in those situations is you can use pharmaceuticals, and these are the licensed products. And if you wanted to go down that line, you need to talk to your vet. Personally, I try and avoid pharmaceuticals wherever possible. I'm not comfortable putting pesticides on myself or my family. So I would extend the same idea to my dogs as well. My two, they're 2 and 4 years old. They've never had a pesticide on them ever, ever, ever. What we do use is we will use herbal flea and tick repellents. For example, this is the flea and tick product, and this is the one that we use. There it is. I don't know whether you can see the real thing there, but I put a couple up on the screen. It's really lovely. It's very powerful. Most dogs really love it. And you just put it in the food. And the idea is that it makes the dog less attractive to fleas and ticks. Yeah, so you can start it a couple of weeks before you go on holiday, or maybe you'll use it from about Easter time to about October time. Possibly you can do that, and then you have a rest during the winter, and off you go. Very versatile, very, very useful. The other alternative is sprays to put on the outside of the dog. And this is the one that we use. I haven't put it up on the screen, but you may or may not be able to see that. If you're interested, just give me a shout when we do question and answer, and we can go through those. Okay, this is called Dermatog Insect Defense Spray. Contains lemongrass, rose geranium, and cedarwood. Lovely, lovely little combo. It's made by my wife Ellie, and it's a very useful spray. So basically what we do is we use the flea and tick on the dogs on the inside, and we'll use this spray on the outside. And what we will do is we'll actually use this on our legs if we're going in a very ticky area, taking the dogs out into the woods and what have you, when we're on holiday, or even at home. We've got woods here and there's deer running around, so there's a lot of ticks, and we'll just spray it on our legs, on the children's legs, and what have you. And that seems to work really, really well. You can also get herbal collars, and you can get herbal kind of drop-on solutions as well. I've never really used those because we use the insect defense spray by Dermadog. The other collars that you can use are called EMB collars, and these are small cylindrical tubes of ceramic tubes. They're actually used by aquatic people. That is to say, not people who live under the sea, but people who have fish tanks and things. They help them to keep them clean. But they've found that they have this property, and nobody really knows. EM stands for electromagnetic. There is a thought that there is some electromagnetic ability of these beads that will make the dog less attractive to fleas and ticks. For example, the people that I've seen are fairly prominent online are harbour hounds. So EM beads from harbour hounds. If you have to get rid of fleas, you need to treat the dog and the cat, but you also need to treat the house as well. And so in order to treat the house, what you'll do is you can just sprinkle diatomaceous earth. It has to be food grade, because otherwise the particles are so small they can be inhaled by you and your pets. So it's got to be food grade, because that's a much safer way to go. So when you go away, you can use natural products rather than pharmaceuticals, if at all possible. All good. Catteries, a lot of great catteries out there. I just had to share this with you because the idea of a catio within the cattery was just priceless. Yeah. So if when you ring up your cattery, say, have you got any catios? And if so, you can maybe upgrade the cat from a regular area where they're going to be and within the cattery to super duper luxury catio. And the catio essentially is, as it suggests, there's an indoor and an outdoor area so that cat can get lots of fresh air, and they can watch the world go by, and they can watch birds flying overhead and what have you. I think it's really, really great. Really, really great idea. Especially if they're in for any, significant length of time. I just thought it was a great photo as well. This is a concept. It's probably more an American concept, but I can't see why we shouldn't be doing it in this country. Basically, you go on an adventure camp, an adventure hike over several days with the dog. These are guided, professionally guided. Maybe you'll go to the Brecon Beacons, or you'll go to the Quantocks, or you'll go up, to the Lake District, or you'll go to Scotland or something like this. And your guide will take you around to do, lovely adventures, hiking, swimming, exploring nature with the dog. And I just think that's got to be a fantastic thing. It's a coming together, the whole family, the dogs, everybody's exhausted at the end of the day. Everybody's had a fantastic time, lots of great opportunity for taking pictures, having fun, and being together. So I love that idea. Obviously, if you've got really old and slightly creaky dog, you don't want to be going miles and miles and miles. If you've got a really young pup, only 9 months old or something like that, you don't want to be overwalking them. So you'll need to tailor the level of exercise and the gradient, and how high you climb and what have you each day, according to your dogs and yours. Come to that, your ability. So another thought, which is just slightly off the normal thought on the road less traveled, perhaps, is while you're away, some people get really anxious because they think, crumbs, I'm going to have to rely on the local vets, and I don't know them, and they don't know my dog, and that's a real cause for concern. And there are many conditions whereby you can pre-arrange with your local vet, your local holistic vet, in order to be able to do telemedicine. You can either Zoom, or you can have a telephone consultation, maybe send some photos and things. Telecommunications these days, which is me showing my age. Everybody's phone can take photos. Everybody's phone can, if there's a signal, you can communicate directly with your vet, and you just say, "Oh, he's cut himself. It's like this. It's not bleeding. It's what should I do?" And you can have a little conversation there. And I think in terms of animal welfare, I think it's a really great idea, but also in terms of you knowing that you've got somebody there who knows you, knows your dog, and is able to give you tailor-made information. I think it's a really, really something to arrange before you go away, especially if your dog's got a chronic condition, a long-term, that is to say, long-term condition, because it's quite difficult as a vet just to take a complex case. If with a tourist who's just come in, and you think, crumbs, what am I going to do with this case? Whereas if that tourist was able to ring back to their hometown to speak to their local vet, then that's a brilliant idea. It is, in an extreme situation, possible to get personalized nutrition and exercise plans just for while you're away and what have you. And I think if your dog has health problems, that's perhaps something that you could think about. Last slide. Um, why not use going away as an opportunity to change your and your dog's and cats' lifestyles, possibly, in that if they've had a different diet while they're away, which is possibly better than what you normally feed, then maybe you could gradually introduce that back into their lifestyle when they get home. Yeah. If there's been some change in routine that really suit you, I don't know, getting up a bit later or going for fewer but longer walks, possibly, then maybe you can bring that routine back into normal life. Not always something that you can do, but worth thinking. You make these changes because you go on holiday. Some of those changes are going to be really useful to your pet, to you, and maybe you can reintroduce those mindfully. The maybe there are some tricks, some behaviors that your pet has learnt while you're away. Why not try and bring those home? Why not try and incorporate those into their new their post-holiday lifestyle? If you've been using the interactive feeders and puzzles while you're on holiday and everybody really enjoys that, well, take them home and you can use them and use that learning experience. Week away, 2 weeks away, you can use that learning experience for when you come home to just improve everybody's lifestyle, even just a tiny bit. So really useful to think about. So summary slide, just to say it's been really useful. And again, thank you to Vermex for allowing me to just sit down and think about this stuff. We've talked about innovative and maybe slightly off the wall, slightly boutique accommodation. Absolutely brilliant. Pet sitters. Either bring a pet sitter into your home, look after your house, look after your pets, or you become a pet sitter and you travel the world. Looking after fabulous pets in fabulous locations, possibly in fabulous accommodation, so the world's your oyster. We talked about raw food, how you get it, how you do it, and we talked about the Coleman Extreme, which is what we use. We talked about mental considerations and the Vermex organic herb range, which is definitely worth checking out on their website, which is vermex.com. We talked about fleas and ticks, and we talked again the Vermex flea and tick product, and we talked about the Ellie's Dermadog insect defense spray in order to keep the fleas and ticks away, so that you don't need to use pharmaceuticals if at all possible. We talked about the Catio within the Cattery. Worth asking. It'll bring a smile to everybody's face, if nothing else. We talked about adventure holidays with your dog, and just sounds like a brilliant idea. My two would just be absolutely cock a hoop to go on hours and hours and hours of chasing bunnies, and they don't swim because they're obviously the tiny scrawny little things, and they don't float very well as a result. But I think there's a lot of great fun to be had there. Telemedicine, or pre-arranging with the vet. If there's any bother, please can I ring you? Brilliant, that would be great. So, and the final one there, if there's been changes that really suit you well while you're on holiday, why not import those into your post-holiday lifestyle? So there we go. I hope that's been useful, guys. I'm just going to check there and come back to you and come back there, and just so if anybody's got any questions, guys, please do say. So QWERTY says, I can put this up if you like. Here we go. QWERTY says, we take both our dog and cat on holiday. The cat loves it. That's great. I mean, some cats really love it. We've got a guy down the road here who he takes his dog for a walk around the block every night, and the cat comes with them. Totally unbidden, the cat comes with them. And so cats are potentially pretty fickle creatures. Dogs are generally pretty happy as long as you're around. Cats love routine, dogs do like routine, but you know, cats on holiday, if it's, you know, think carefully. If you know the character of your cat and they're going to be really up for it, then I think it's a brilliant idea and really, really great. Go for it. Laura's put up the calming topper there, which is brilliant. Thank you, Laura. Wendy seems happy with the presentation. It's a little bit better with sound, I think. Yes, so I hope it hit the spot today rather than just seeing silent slides. And Katya says here, let's have a look. Oh, yeah, nice, Katya. So she's been a pet sitter and she really, really loved it, but bless her, she always got a bit sad when she had to say goodbye to the pets. But I think there's a lot to be said for that. You know, if I didn't have children and dogs and what have you, I'd be there like a flash, I'm sure. So there you go, guys. And there's Zeb, who's just saying, hello, Zeb. Lovely to see you. Lovely to see you. And Wendy says she's on Team Edward Labrador. Do check those guys out. They're doing some brilliant work for rescuing labs. So great, Wendy. Great to see you there. Thank you very, very much indeed. That's it, guys. I hope that was useful. I hope you have great holidays. We're almost through the holidays now, but I'm sure this is going to be up for next year as well. You're very welcome to it. If you've got any queries, do get in touch with Cheryl and the guys and Laura there as part of the team at Vermex, and they'll be able to help you. And if there's anything that they need me to jump in on, then I can jump in as well. Norma, great. I hope that was useful, Norma, with regard to the flea and tick stuff. Hope that's really, really good. Guys, take care. We are off to Edition Dog Live, which is in Shropshire. No, it's not in Shropshire. It's in the showground in the middle of the country, and I can't remember where it is, but we're going to be there. I do have a little Google Edition Dog Live. If you want a really good day out, it's a bit like Crufts, but it's a little bit more laid back because everybody's there is looking from a little bit of a more of a holistic perspective on health. And so you can have some great conversations. There's stalls, and I'm doing a couple of presentations. I'm doing a presentation on obesity and another one on how to transition the older dog to raw food. So you're welcome to come along. Please come and say hello. I've seen you at the pet doctor, the gut doctor lecture. So very, very good. Take care of yourselves, and I'm gonna go and see what the family's up to. It's the middle of the summer holiday, so we'll see what kind of wreckage we have downstairs. Take care, guys. We will see you very shortly for another episode of The Gut Doctor. Take care. Thanks.